All right, good morning. So we're up to letter S for rants and reflections, and I am finding I do better walking and talking on these very short videos because it's a trigger in my head that if I'm going to go for a walk with the dogs, I might want to attack another letter. So it's actually working. So S. S is for systems. And I know half of you are going to click off now because you're like, systems? Oh, shit, here she goes. She's talking about automation and all that stuff. No, I'm not. Not at all. Bring it back around. I'm talking about systems. You actually have systems in your life for everything. You have a system for doing laundry. Maybe you sort your clothes. Maybe you have a particular order. I always do my darks first, my whites first. I do sheets on Tuesdays. I have to put the laundry in first, and then I put the detergent in on top, or I put the detergent in first. You have a system. You have a system for everything that you do routinely and regularly in your life. But a lot of you don't have routines in your business. You don't have systems in your business. You are not even manually tracking what you do. And there's no way to transfer that knowledge to someone else. So maybe you're a little stuck. If you are looking at your business and going, Dawn, I'm the only one that can do X, Y, and Z, and it isn't actually tied to something that maybe you have a professional license for, where you really are the only one that can give certain types of advice or cure diseases or whatever, and it is something that could have transferable knowledge to somebody else, like how we do something, the fact that you don't have it written down as a system is causing you to be stuck. Now, manual systems are great. Lots of people use manual systems. We still use checklists a lot in the roastery for different events and different lines of revenue and business, tasks that we do, because even after a number of years, something can get overlooked. You can get distracted, something can happen, but a checklist in front of you is a manual system. And if you check everything off on the checklist, you know it'll be done correctly and completely. So if you don't have systems for things like customer acquisition, if you don't have systems for customer service, how does somebody come into your business? How do you take care of that person? How do you follow up with them later? If you don't have systems for, let's say, production and manufacture, if you don't have systems for, let's say, putting things up online, if you don't have your brand, you have a system as to how you create your graphics to be cohesive. If you don't have these systems, if you don't have this stuff written down, if you are not predictably doing the same thing over and over and over again, you are causing yourself so much additional work. It's not even funny, because every time you do it, you're not only doing it different, which is exhausting if you have to try to remember a step, but you'll never be able to pass off anything to another person when it's time to hire, grow, and scale. And if you have a business, like we do with multiple employees, sometimes people are hired in for a very specific task, very specific thing that they do. That person needs to be able to go and work the system in a way that is supported by all the other systems in your business, if that makes sense. I don't know how to clarify that differently, but let's say you're hiring an accountant, and that accountant or a bookkeeper comes into your system and they do the weekly things and run your payroll and whatever else have you, then that has to be fed by another system in your business, okay? Very rarely are systems not interconnected. Very rarely will you have a one-off system that is just so bizarre or out there that it's not going to touch anything else in the company. But if you do not have your systems, we can call them standard operating procedures, call them SOPs, and write them down. But if you don't have your systems documented somewhere, you're actually going to hurt yourself tremendously when you try to go to the next level. And if you're constantly working without systems and documented ways of doing things, you're probably burning yourself out too. You're going to be overwhelmed with trying to remember whether or not something got taken care of and whether or not something got done. Just a thought. Rants and reflections.